My name is Brianna Angelis de Jesus, and by the title of this video, you guys are probably confused why it says Hispanic Heritage Month continued, and that was an intentional choice that I made, and I'm very blessed that I trusted my creative intuition because I wanted to highlight that Hispanic Heritage Month should be celebrated every month, just as Black History Month should be celebrated every month. I think in America and Western culture, we confine our BIPOC and minorities to just one-day holidays or a month to where we spread knowledge, and it's a beautiful start. But if we want to close the gap on misunderstandings and disrespect to other people who are different from us, whether it be background, religion, race, gender, these conversations need to happen every single month. So with that being said, I want to thank the 3 women who participated in this video. I'm very grateful that they took the time out of their schedules and not having even meet me in person. These women are across the nation from me, in different states, and they took the time out of their schedule to share their stories about being a first-gen Latina college student. And I started this project with the intention of learning more about Hispanic culture. You know, growing up, I felt very disconnected to being Latina, being Puerto Rican. Both my parents are Puerto Rican, and I just didn't know what that meant. And there was a certain point in my life not that long ago where I just chucked up my identity to being Brianna, to being a lover of my Lord Jesus and God. And in my prayer life, I was praying for me to be more connected to a community, more connected to my culture. And it was then placed in my heart to start reconnecting with my roots and reconnecting with what Hispanic heritage means to me. And if you're listening to this video and Spanish isn't your first language, or you know, your family's native language isn't your first language, and you feel disconnected, I encourage you to have conversations like I did, especially with those in your household, because when I started this journey, I was angry and I was mad. You know, why didn't my mom cook traditional meals every day? Why didn't they blast, you know, traditional Spanish music in the mornings, like, you know, the Instagram memes say what a true Puerto Rican mom acts like? Why didn't they teach me Spanish? And I was really mad at both my mother and my father. And it wasn't until I sat down with my mom and I asked her these questions and I shared my emotions with her, which I was then led to understand why she did the things that she did. And I was led to know that, okay, I'm a young adult now. Those choices lie on me now, and it is my responsibility. I can't change the past. I think a lot of us Latinos and anyone BIPOC, we tend to not acknowledge the sacrifices that our families made, especially, you know, living in a world that serves predominantly white upper class males. And you have to have these challenging conversations with your loved ones to honestly respect the decisions they made, because it will help you figure out the decisions that you want to make and the decisions that you don't want to make for your life. After I had that conversation with my mom and I realized, okay, these are the choices that I have to make, it led me to this project. And I decided, okay, what's a better way to start than first-gen Latino students? And originally I wanted this to be both male and women. Ultimately, I just got women responses. Before we get into this video, I do want to give a huge thank you to We All Grow Latina. It is a woman and Latina owned publication based out of LA. And one day, you know, I was looking for jobs. I wanted to write for a publication. I have my own blog, and my mother was just sending me different women magazines that I can apply for. And one day she sent me a quote in Spanish from We All Grow Latina's Instagram, and they were having internships. But for me and my integrity, I didn't know about the publication. I just didn't want to apply for something I just didn't know about. And one of the questions that they asked was, do you speak Spanish? So I was already very timid, and I just decided to follow them. I decided to join. They have a network, and through the network I was able to get in contact with these 3 women. And something that has worked for me that I will share for you, and hopefully it connects with some of you out there, is that if you want to be in a position where, for example, I wanted to connect with my culture, you have to put yourself in those healthy environments with like-minded, successful individuals, because through that you can learn how to take certain steps you need to take to be in your dream life, you know. As you know, it can sound very silly, but I have been surrounded by inspirational women, and I continue to learn and be surrounded by more inspirational women. And now it's just fun, and it's very enjoyable that I get to be around women who share Latina heritage, because that's something I want to be more confident in. And it wasn't until I started this project that I already started to see a change in me and my identity with Hispanic heritage. You know, my name, Brianna Angelis de Jesus, I just started getting comfortable saying de Jesus and de Jesus. You know, something little as that makes such a big difference. If any of you specifically are first-gen Latina students, and some of these women's stories are connecting with you, please message me. I will be more than happy to forward you their contact information. And if, you know, for whatever reason, you know, your paths are not meant to connect, do not get discouraged, because there is someone out there who will encourage you and inspire you. Because I'm probably never gonna meet you in person, whoever is watching this right now, or I probably already do know you, and just know that I love you so much, God loves you so much, and you are on your journey for a reason. So, you know, if you're getting your degree for the first one, I commend your strength, I commend your courageousness, and you will get that degree, and you are more than your degree. You are doing it, and you are inspiring so many people along the way. So hang in there, you are not alone. So without further ado, let me show you these great first-gen Latina students.
My name is Catherine Bonilla Pineda. My pronouns are she, her, ella, and I am Salvadorian.
Hello, my name is Yesenia Carrillo. My pronouns are she, her, and I identify as Latina.
Being a first-gen Latinx Latina college student is very overwhelming, but also fulfilling. It can be overwhelming because we're not given a plan, a to-do list, uh, some type of path that says, look, you do this, that, and then this. Something as simple as filling out a FAFSA application can be very stressful. I know the first time I did it, I was so stressed. I was following the directions of subtract this line from this line, and I was like, oh my God, what if I do this wrong? Am I gonna go to jail for fraud? This is nerve-wracking. But it's also fulfilling because I am the first. I am following my dreams, also fulfilling my parents' dreams. Their struggles and sacrifices are definitely were not done in vain. I'm pushing through. I'm showing the world that they came with little, and I'm just gonna keep multiplying that.
I feel very blessed and thankful to be a first generation college student, and I hope to inspire future generations to achieve higher education. I attended San Jose State University. I received my undergraduate degree in communication studies with a double minor in public relations and Mexican American studies. And I received my master's also from San Jose State University in communication studies with a focus on health communication.
For undergrad, I went to SUNY Oneonta, New York, because I am from New York City. I originally majored in biology, but I got my bachelor's in psychology. I ended up falling in love with psychology. The study of the human mind and behavior. It interested me a lot. Now I'm a graduate student at Fordham University, and I'm pursuing my master's in social work. I chose this major because I want to help others in the communities I identify with and those that have impacted me, such as the undocumented, LGBTQ, women, people of color. So I just want to give back.
I really wanted to go to college because I knew that I wanted to, one, get higher education, but also work in an environment where I can use my education. And I knew to do that, I needed to go to school and get a degree, whether that be just my bachelor's or my master's. I was encouraged by my family to go back to school and get my master's. I work in human resources, and I knew that a master's degree would really help my career.
Some fears I had when applying to college, like I mentioned before, I was going to jail for fraud, but some like real deep fears I had were, am I going to fail out? Am I going to know how to do this? Am I prepared? Um, am I meeting the deadlines? Am I doing what I'm supposed to do? Um, yeah, those were some of my fears when I first applied.
I had a lot of fears when applying to college, one of them being that I really didn't have any role models that can really support me in my transition from high school to college. I kind of had to figure that out on my own, and so one of the biggest fears I had was making a mistake, whether that be financially or with my degree and with my passions. And so I was really afraid of not having someone to kind of look up to.
How I felt when I got accepted, oh, well, I don't know if I can curse, but I definitely felt like the SHIT. I was very proud of myself. I got into all the colleges I applied to. I don't know if it's the imposter syndrome where I felt like, those schools were easy to get into. Maybe that's probably why I got accepted into all. But I try not to listen to those thoughts. Um, I did work hard. I did my best in my college essay. So I should give myself the credit. But yes, I was very proud of myself. My family was very proud. My sister, who's one of my biggest supporters, was very proud of me. It was just a great feeling.
When I first got accepted, I was over the moon. I was so excited, and I think my parents were also very proud, and my family was also very happy for me. I do have a few family members that did go to school and get their bachelor's degree. So I wasn't the only in my family, but I was one of the first. So it was very challenging.
Speaking for me, I want to make sure that I'm doing what I have to do when I have to do it, and that I'm not wasting my time or anybody else's time. Another challenge, but I take it as a good challenge, is the pressure to be a good example for those that follow and to help those that follow. It's a good challenge for me because I feel like I'm opening doors, and when it's time for my niece, who's currently a senior, uh, when it's time for her to start applying, do the FAFSA and all of that, I'm gonna be there supporting her and helping her. Same for my nephew who follows, and then my brother, and so on and so forth.
Because I was one of the only in my family to go to school and get that higher education, it was really difficult to really find a place where I can fit in and also find people that can support me and guide me through that process. There's a lot of things that go into applying to school, and then once you're in school, finding the right resources was very challenging. And so I really had to go out of my way to make sure that I was making the most out of the resources that were available and also making sure that I can find them. So that was a really big challenge, and it took a lot of work to do so.
Some barriers that are placed in the education system that prevent Latinos and Hispanics to go into higher education, I feel, is two things. One, obviously money. We're not all old money. We're not all privileged in society. So definitely money. But two is language. Um, a lot of our parents immigrated here from their country or didn't get the education to help them read, write, understand, or sometimes they just didn't want to learn English. So the language definitely is a barrier, not only when it comes to like doing paperwork, applications, and stuff like that. Also, like when you take the SAT, to me, I would go to SAT prep and I would look at these words and I'm like, this is the first time I'm seeing these words. I don't even know how to pronounce these words. I don't use these words at home. My parents are speaking Spanish and I'm speaking Spanglish back. Like I'm not using, I don't even know a big word right now off the top of my head, but I felt like that was a language, a barrier, is the language.
Being able to find resources that are catered to just underrepresented groups, especially when it comes to financial resources. I know that there's a lot of scholarship opportunities, but a lot of it requires you to do your own research and some digging on your own. And so I think that was one of the biggest challenges I had, that I wish there was more communication around the kind of resources that are available to specifically underrepresented groups. There's a lot of different kind of financial, scholarships and resources, but I wanted things that were specific to my background and my culture, and it was a little bit difficult to find that.
To someone who's in the process of becoming first gen is definitely don't give up. We need more people who look like us, who think like us, who have experiences like us in the world. The world needs our perspective. It's not only, one tunnel vision of one person's ideology or mindset that should rule all of us. It should be a diverse group of us. So we need more Latinx, Latina in higher education, in politics, in the medical field, and everywhere. We're needed everywhere. So don't give up.
Do not give up. Do not feel discouraged. It is a hard process. I was in school full-time and also working full-time, and I took out a lot of loans to finish school, and I know it can be overwhelming, but trust me, it can be done. And there's a lot of people that you can find that are there to support you along the way. There's a lot of groups out there to support, first generation college students. And I think that technology, especially social media, is a really great way to find a good network. And when I first started college, I wasn't very big on social media, or I don't even think I had like an Instagram account or anything like that. And so now that's a really great avenue for you to find resources. There's a lot of groups on Instagram that support first generation college students. So I think that there's a lot of help out there. It just takes some time to find the right groups, but they're out there. So I would just recommend to stay persistent, never give up, and to really follow your dreams. I know sometimes being the first can be very difficult, especially when our parents don't really understand how to support us in this space. But you are the first, you won't be the last. And I hope that you going to school and achieving that higher education, that you are able to inspire, future generations to do the same.
Something I wish I could have told myself when, I was starting out is definitely don't make choices off of other people's choices and decisions. Catherine, follow what you want to do, where you want to go, how you want to do it, why you want to do it, but also start off as a psychology major. You didn't need to stress bio like that.
Something that I wish I could have told my younger self when I first started my education path that I know now, I would tell myself to step outside of my comfort zone. I know that oftentimes networking can be very difficult. It's not, a comfortable situation all the time, but I think now in my career and after college, networking opens so many doors for you to find, like I mentioned, the right resources, the right communities, the right people. So I definitely recommend going ahead and reaching out to networks. So if I could tell my younger self something, I would tell her to network, not be shy, really use your voice and find people that can support you and open doors for you.
I hope hearing my story can help others navigate through this journey of being the first, but definitely not the last.
And especially in the workforce, it's really difficult to find a place where you can fit in. And I know that feeling firsthand. But I think that if you have that passion and that drive, you can be that person to open that pathway and doors for the future generation. And unfortunately, like I might not have had that, but I'm really hopeful that, other generations are able to look up after our generation to advance their skills, go back to school, get a higher education, and really increase that percentage of Latinas and Latinos that are getting their master's degree and even beyond their PhD if that's something that you want to pursue. So I just recommend staying strong and not forgetting why you're going to school, whether that be to get a good job, to get more money, to be the first in your family, or simply because you love, education. For me, it was all of the above. And so I just hope that you find the right connections to support you throughout your process and know that there's a big network of people out there rooting for you. And I just hope that you don't give up. And if you ever do feel like giving up, always remember why you started.